between 2007, 2006, up to 2013, we would have looked at over 5,000 cases and would have disposed, regrettably, of less than half of that, about 1,900 cases. If I were listening to this, I would be in shock and awe, and I agree that that cannot be the standard going forward. And that is why I said that we are putting in place effective systems so that we can dispose of it. But another point that must be recognized is that when we write to public entities and act and seeking to ferret and solve the complaints, they too take a long time to respond. This is where we have to be more assertive in the use of our legal powers and tools of enforcement to get them to respond. That is how I think we had failed in the last 6 or so years. We hadn't used our statutory powers to get persons to respond as they should have. And we accept that responsibility. That has now changed. We've put in strict guidelines for our staff members, timelines, so that they know that when we write to someone, they will respond within a set time. And if they don't, we will use the statutory powers, because that's what the citizens expect of us. If, for example, the Office of the Public Defender gets a complaint that someone, it's a common thing, has not been paid their pension, for example, and we write to the NIS, National Insurance Scheme, and they have not responded, the statute, the Public Defender Interim Act of 2000, gives the public defender the power to summons the head of that organization or the person who's responsible and examine them, ask them questions about this. If they disobey the summons, then they can be prosecuted for that. Secondly, another tool that we have, where there's a constitutional breach and we have investigated that breach and we take the view that there has been a breach, we can assist the person through either provide them with the finances to get a lawyer or instruct counsel or an attorney on their behalf to go to court to get their rights vindicated. That is why I said earlier, we want to chart new frontiers to use our powers more effectively, not only in the traditional sense of, well, the police killed someone, I'm not trivializing that, but in the realms of discrimination law, there's a lot that we can do that we have not been doing. In the second week of May, we'll be signing a memorandum of association with the Bureau of Women's Affairs. And this memorandum, this agreement, will allow the Bureau of Women's Affairs to signpost complaints, cases to us, because we are really in the process at the Office of the Public Defender of trying to find that test case that can lay down, give the court an opportunity to make a pronouncement on how we are not to treat women in this country, especially in the employment context, so that we can see the women in our country can have a better experience and not be discriminated against. We're hoping to do the same with the Combined Disabilities Association. Another good thing I think is happening at our at the organization is the fact that we have sent a letter to the Commissioner of Indicom, Mr. Terence Williams, for the Public Defender's Office and Indicom to have a joint working relationship so that we don't have duplication of resources. The staff members are ready and willing to engage with the public in a different way, and we're willing also to improve the quality of service that we are giving. Case in point, every new citizen who walks through our doors and makes a complaint will receive a letter letting them know that within 14 days of their first complaint, they will receive another letter updating them on the progress of their matter. It's a new way of doing things so that at the forefront we can have the delivering of efficient and quality customer care or service to the citizens. Each head of an organization, be it private or public, comes with his or her own leadership style, and I think Mr. Witter would be the first again to admit that perhaps his leadership style might not have been the best, but equally he would, if he was sitting here, would have said to us clearly that there were reasons why he led in the way he did. Then there was also the issue of the constraint of resources. Now, for those citizens who have written to the public defender 4 or 5 years ago, for example, and haven't received a response, that is really a matter of a lack of a system in place to ensure speedy and effective response. And sometimes you can't disaggregate you cannot divide between the leader and the system, because I'm sure everyone who's listening would say, well, it's the leader who implements the system. So it's a bit difficult at times to really divide it. But I'm sure that there is some measure of responsibility that individual staff members have to accept, those present and those who are no longer there. But for us right now, and for those we are interested in going forward, and with the team that I'm given the privilege of leading, we're charting and getting ourselves out of the choppy waters that we found ourselves in. First and foremost, the challenge is certainly with the resources that we have. For example, we have only 3 investigators, and it is recommended that we should have 5 investigators. In terms of numbers, this is how it plays out. Up to the 4th of April of this year, 2014, we have had 122 new cases. Now you add on to that the fact that you have cases being carried over, at least over 300 to 400 cases from last year being carried over. Add to that, thus far in this year, we have 122 new cases with only 3 investigators. That's one of the significant challenges that we are facing right now. But we're realigning our systems internally so as to, first and foremost, make more effective and efficient use of the resources that we have, so that when we approach the Parliament to use its influence to get us an increase in our budget, then we can say to the persons who are providing us with the funding, look, we have made the most efficient use of our resources. The public certainly has, I would say, justifiable reasons not to have been totally pleased with the service that we have rendered over the last 4 or so years. But my job and the job of the team that I am presently leading is to restore that faith, and that will take some time. But as I said earlier, the starting point is to ensure that the new cases that we have, that the persons are given timely updates. And so, yes, justifiably so. I would be a hypocrite if I sat here and said no. Justifiably so, the public is disappointed. But I'm here on behalf of the entire team there to say to Jamaica and to those who are watching this from around the world, when you now approach the Office of the Public Defender, the quality of service that you will be given is far different from that which you have come to expect or you've heard of.